Beelink, it's a brand that I've covered a few times before in the past, and they sent this out to me. It is one of their latest mini PCs called the SER3. This one is powered by a Ryzen 7 3750H. It's a quad-core chip. It has 8 threads, and the maximum turbo is 4 GHz. Yes, it is now a few generations old. It does come with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of NVMe storage, and you can even add a 2.5-inch drive to expand upon that capacity, which you wouldn't think so, seeing as how small this particular mini PC is. It can literally fit in the palm of my hand. Inside the box, you will find our 51-watt power supply. We have a user manual, a long HDMI cable, a short HDMI cable if you're going to be using the VESA mount, which is right here. That's the bracket that they do include. And then some screws for a 2.5-inch hard drive and that mounting bracket. And first up, our BIOS. So we do have with Beelink, just like their other mini PCs I've reviewed in the channel, all of the advanced settings are available to us. So it's a completely unlocked BIOS. This is great. So let's go into Windows now. So our PC here does ship with Windows 10 Pro. You will need to run Windows 10 updates. And if you wanted to know, does it support Windows 11? Yes. Okay, it meets all the requirements. We have the TPM 2.0 that's there, the secure boot, and of course this spec of mini PC, even though it is a few generations old, still fine to run Windows 11 if you wanted to upgrade and do that. It's all possible. So now I do have 32 gigabytes installed just to make sure it's in dual channel here to show you the best performance we're able to achieve out of the Vega 10 that really gets that benefit. So you see with this particular chip that it can run up to 35 watts. And I have noticed though that Beelink just have it configured to 15 watts. So the performance isn't quite as good as what you would expect. Now it does have the 4 cores, 8 threads. The maximum turbo with this one is 4 gigahertz. And the Vega 10 graphics with its 10 cores there for that one. So what about our performance? Well, here is just one benchmark, which is Geekbench. I'll show you a few shortly, showing that, I mean, the performance is reasonable. All of documents and spreadsheets and things like that will open up quickly. It's reasonably fast for that. The Vega 10 graphics can handle VP9 codecs HEVC with ease, no problems with those, but it's not exactly a super good score, is it? It could actually do a lot better, this particular chipset here. And the internal storage, so we do have 512 gigabytes, and these are the speeds of it, which aren't bad. They're not the fastest I've seen for a NVMe drive, but still this SSD is faster than a SATA3 SSD, which would cap out about 550 sequential reads and writes. So a lot better here. So that's fine there. Good speeds, not going to be slowing down the system. And then the networking on this one, we've got gigabits LAN here for the controller, which is very, very common. And then just Wi-Fi 5 spec here. So it's the Intel Wireless AC 7265. I would have preferred that they use Intel's AX200, which is just a small little extra cost there. They could have done this. Now it looks like we cannot upgrade this wireless card unless it's on the other side of the motherboard, which I don't think it is. I think it's actually part of the motherboard considering the size of it. So that's a little disappointing. They really should have gone with a better Wi-Fi 6 card, and that would of course have Bluetooth 5, which this one does not. This only has Bluetooth 4 spec. So your general light computing stuff like documents, spreadsheets right here, that's all fine on this particular spec of mini PC. The Ryzen 7, the 3750H, handles this all well, even at only 25 watts. So I double checked it. It's actually 25 watts as per the BIOS that is configured at. Now video playback, I'm just going to play a couple of files here. This one is Jellyfish 4K HEVC, 10-bit. It is a demanding file, but you can see the playback here is great. It's smooth, it does not drop any frames there, and that's what we want. So video playback, really quite good on this machine. It handles it just fine, that Vega 10 graphics. This here is a demanding 4K clip, 60 frames per second, Sony Swordsmith, and again, no drop frames there. Just plays that fine. Now, how is that Vega 8 performance? So I have run a few benchmarks here, and as we suspect, it's going to be low, right? Because it's only 25 watts, not 35 watts. So this graphics score here for Time Spy is below average, okay? The same for Night Raid, which is our integrated graphics benchmark from 3D Mark. Again, graphics score here should be higher. This is a good 1,000 or 2,000 points lower there, so below average again. Limited by that 25 watt TDP we have. Firestrike, again, limited. Now the thermals and the fan noise, as a result, are very good because we're not getting up to the full capacity. So stress testing it, gaming, benchmarks, everything like that, for 2 hours now, it will not go over 70 degrees, the chipset, which is great. Sorry, 80 degrees almost. So 79 is the maximum, and average temperatures seem to be pretty good. Fan noise, for the most part, is quiet, unless you stress test it. If you're running Cinebench R23 or you're gaming, you then hear the fan, and it sounds a little bit like an Ultrabook. Because basically it is. Well, it's a laptop processor in a mini PC. Latency monitor does show that the audio here should be good for handling real-time audio without any dropouts, without any clipping or any problems there. We normally do see this with AMD chipsets, that audio is quite good. Intel, on the other hand, with the audio latency, can be a bit problematic, but not this particular mini PC. 4K video editing now, it is possible with this particular spec of mini PC. Now, I've noticed that the performance with the timeline can be a little bit laggy at times when selecting different clips. In the beginning it was. Now, at a quarter playback resolution here, it's fine, it's not dropping any frames. But if you do run half, you can even see now that the timeline's sometimes just a little bit slow. So if I select another place here, takes a little bit. There we go, a little while to catch up.
This is the optional app here.
So and once it's going, that really isn't too much of a problem. But how long will it take to export here a minute of footage at the YouTube 4K preset? Bearing in mind that it's got that limitation with the power limit. So here you can see I do have 1 minute of footage. I'm going to hit start on the timer and export. Now this, I believe, is going to take probably over 2 minutes. Because, again, it's just a little bit restricted, that Ryzen 7. So here we go, it is about to finish up. And it came through a little bit faster than I was expecting. So 1 minute and 37 seconds, approximately 1 minute and 35 if you factor in my little delay there, isn't actually too bad at 25 watts. Grand Theft Auto 5 now, so gaming performance with the Vega 10 graphics is not too bad here. I mean, we're getting in the mid-40s. Grand Theft Auto 5 I do have set to 1080p the resolution, and then the normal settings, and the view distance is in the middle. So this performance for Vega 10 for the 3000 series is not bad, considering that it is, yes, again, I'm going to say it, a little bit limited here with just 25 watts, but still doing a fairly good job. Let's have a look at CounterStrike now after this.
Let's go.
So this is a game against bots here with Dust 2, 1080p, lowest possible settings, and it sometimes gets down to 30 frames per second. So you can, I mean, game okay like this, but really not ideal kind of performance. But let's see what happens when there's a few enemies on screen. Oh no, they've gone the other way. This is the game against bots, so that's how I'm able to get a few kills with this one. So not too bad for the Vega 10 graphics. Lastly, Linux support, no problems at all, because it does have a dated wireless card. I did not have any wireless issues running Linux Mint. And the audio controls, they are working just fine there. So Linux support with this mini PC, good. It gets a thumbs up.
Okay, so it's now been a few days with this. I'm going to go over the good and the bad of this mini PC after using it for that long. So I like the build quality. It's excellent, very good, typical Beelink. I like the fact that we can add an additional 2.5-inch drive if you wanted to do that. You can upgrade the RAM. You can swap out that Wi-Fi 5 card with a Wi-Fi 6 one. Honestly, they should have shipped it with a Wi-Fi 6 one, I believe, with Bluetooth 5. I mean, it is 2021. And it is, yes, a couple of generations old now, this chip. So the performance for general kind of computing, so spreadsheets, internet, video files, documents, that kind of thing, even a little bit of light gaming, light video editing, it's all fine thanks to the quad-core 8 threads, and the performance is good, but as I mentioned quite a few times, it is limited by that 25 watt TDP. It should really be 35 watts, but this form factor being so small, I think at 35 watts with this cooler, probably would run into thermal throttling. That is probably why Beelink have done that. Fan noise is good until you push it hard. You do hear it a little bit. It sounds just like then a loud Ultrabook or a laptop. And really, I think it's an okay mini PC. It's just that power limit that is really limiting the performance. So thank you so much for watching my review here of the SER3.